So leave the weekends alone. If you do it for 15 hours, I'm sure you could break that down your own way. If you want to do Saturdays, you can do 2 to 3 hours a day until Saturday and things like that. I usually do all my follow-up calls with the leads that I've built on either Tuesdays or Wednesdays, 1 day a week. Because you want to get all those at the same time. You don't want to have to follow up with somebody Monday, follow up with somebody Tuesday, follow up with somebody Wednesday. If they say, hey, give me a call next month or whatever, put them all on the same day and follow up with them on the same day. Unless they're ready for an appointment, then obviously you give them a specific time. Because you don't want to be wasting your time. Like what I found with me, for example, is when I call people and I say, did I get you at a good time? They say no. I say, when's a better time to reach you? They'll say something to me like, can you call me at 6 o'clock? I would be like, yeah, I'll call you at 6 o'clock, because you just get so excited for the opportunity to call somebody. And then I realize at 6 o'clock I'm at home with my son eating dinner, and I'm like, I shouldn't have promised this person I was going to call, you know? So what I'll say now is, are you around on Saturday? I'll ask them for a time that works for me. If they say yeah, then I'll call them. You know, you don't want to promise people things you're not going to do. You don't want to make this calling thing like you're 24/7. Some realtors run their business like that. We did at one point too. Fine, you know, if that's how you want to live it, that's how you want to live it, you know, but I don't think that's much of a life, you know. You're here to do what you're going to do, get the business you're going to get. You go home at the end of the night. If it's a real appointment or a real person you're doing business with, yeah, treat them like that. If it's somebody that you're just kind of working on, they're in the beginning stages, well, I mean, I wouldn't sacrifice my kids' time for it, you know.
What about the times where, you know, if you call early in the morning between 9 and 12, people might have already gone to work, you're hitting a lot of answering machines. And so how do you get around that? Do you say, well, you know, do you avoid calling at 6 o'clock at night because people are eating supper, or you don't worry about that, or you know?
Jeff Glover, who works for Keller Williams, has his own office. They do like how many 400 or 500 deals a year. He said they did a study. They hired a guy, and a cold caller, just a inside sales associate, whatever they call it. And they told that guy call, right? They gave him lunch, dinner, whatever. And the ratio of answers was pretty much the same throughout the hours. It's about 10 an hour if you're really, really focused. So the time that you call people, I don't think really matters. Because there's some people that work on Tuesday 9 to 12, and there's a lot of people that don't work on Tuesday at 9 to 12, right? So how do you know what day you're going to catch them? You know, you're going to catch who you're going to catch. There's some people that don't answer their phone. There's some people that will say to me, oh, I just happened to be home today. Or if I called them yesterday, the guy probably wouldn't have been home, you know? Right. So my advice on that particular thing is cold call or call in the time that works for you. You know, Ando calls early in the morning. I used to call early in the morning. Now, I'll call at 9 or 10 and I'll go to 1. I'll skip my lunch, you know. I'll do things like that. But it's what I feel comfortable with. Because when I called in the morning, I felt like everybody was home in the morning. Now, for some reason, my mindset shifted and I'm like, nobody wants to talk before 9, right? So now, it's only because I don't want to talk before 9, probably. So what I'll do is I'll just say, okay, what I'm going to do is call them from 10 to 1 or 9 to 1, and that's how I'll do it. So do it based on your schedule. People will pick up. You can call people from technically 4 to 7 is the most answered times, you know, because 9 to 12 everybody's at work, right? So technically evening's the best time. Saturday's a great time. Sundays, yes.
Do you subscribe to their cell phone list?
We started off looking up everything because we had no money to pay for any monthly services, so we would look up absolutely everything from their number to whatever you want to think of. Individually, look up their phone number, look up the house. Then we paid for a system that just gave us their
Home phone, right?
It would say expired, this is the house, here's the phone number. So we stopped the scrubbing process. And now we have an auto dialer that gives us the number. Sometimes it gives us the cell phone number and we'll just call, but it's a much quicker process. So the only difference between the beginning and now is we have money to pay for systems to expedite the way we do things. That's all.
What do you
Not-
subscribe to?
So we have the Vulcan is what we use.
Mhm.
That's a dialer, costs about, I don't know what their prices are now, but costs about $300 a month. There's other ones out there, but we've been with this one. We've tried other ones, there's Mojo. I wasn't a big fan, you know, the Vulcan's really, really easy to use. And then, that's pretty much it, right? What else do we have? That's our dialer, you know, that scrubs the fsbo's expireds, same ones everybody else gets, and sends them to us, and we just get on the phones and call. And then the other thing we have, which is much cheaper, it's probably like $400 a month, which everybody should probably have, it's the call directory. And it'll give you every number in Massachusetts. I talked to them the other day for like $800 or $900, you could get their cell phone numbers. I don't know how I feel about calling people's phones, you know, so for me right now, whatever comes up, I'll call. You know, you could buy people's cell phone numbers, but I just feel like if all of a sudden a bunch of telemarketers started calling my cell phone, I would lose my mind. I'd just start yelling at all of them. So unless people advertise their personal cell phone number, I won't call it probably. You know, but you could. You know, everybody's different. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
For scripts, who to study? So, fortunately and unfortunately, there's a lot of guys like me that do videos, and now it's really, really easy to get credibility, right? I could just do a video pretending I know how to cold call and never have made a cold call in my life, and it looks believable, you know, but you don't know. So just don't learn from guys who've just been in the business for a very little period of time, you know? There's obviously tried and true guys. Mike Ferry, I think he's a really good one. He's just proven himself over time. We used to coach with his son, Tom Ferry, for 6 months at $600 a month. But his scripts and strategy was just different. You know, his was more like taking over a neighborhood, like Facebook marketing and all that cute stuff, which just isn't for us, you know? Not yet, at least. That's something I'm willing to throw money at later. Right now, I like to have control of our business, and that we do that by cold calling. So I would study Mike Ferry scripts, because those scripts are really direct.
Right.
And maybe you won't use them as directly, but what you need to get your head around is just have the idea of what you need to ask, you know? Because it becomes very easy that if you call in a lot of people, and all of a sudden somebody gets on the phone and it's a sweet person and they give you the sweet conversation, you're not going to get business out of it, but the conversation feels nice after so many crappy ones, you know? And you got to know what to ask to see if this person's actually going to sell or if you're just having a good conversation. I mean, if you have time for that, great, but that's not why we cold call, right? You know, sometimes we'll stay on the phone, but we selectively know, like Ando did today, oh, this lady's so sweet, we had a great conversation. I don't know if that led anywhere, but.
Well, no, that's a follow-up I've been following up with for a long time, so that was something that I kind of had to be on the phone with.
Yeah, so things like that. But if there's no opportunity there for any business of any sort and you're just having a sweet conversation, you might, you know, I say like if it goes over 10 minutes, you're talking way too much, you know, way too much. It should be like after like 5 minutes, red flags should start going up, like, who's asking the questions here? Am I directing this conversation towards something significant or something that I'm looking to help these people with? Because if not, then, you know, that's a waste of time too. You do enough of those, you're going to be out of the cold calling thing too, you know, so it's kind of how that goes. So I would study proven guys, no new agents. I covered how to study, right? You can either role play. Keller Williams has such an amazing company. There's so many people that if you call them and you just say, I'm Keller Williams, it's like all of a sudden you're a family. And there's a million of us out there cold calling and stuff like that are doing incredible business. So it's surprisingly easy to reach out to some of these guys and say, hey, do you have a, you know, Tuesday at 7 o'clock, maybe I could call you, you know? I've done that a lot in the beginning of my career, and I was surprised at how many guys that I really looked up to were like, yeah, man, I'll role play with you, you know? So that was pretty neat. So I think it'll be easier to find role play partners than most people think. It's just your own commitments, So that's pretty much it. So you're always gonna be 3 feet from the goal in this cold calling thing, and how fast you dig through the crap is up to you. One person could dig through it in a minute, and another person could dig through it through 3 hours or 3 months or 3 years, because they wanna move slow and complain every time somebody hangs up on them. It's work. Some people are gonna hang up, some people aren't. You don't jive with everybody in your life. You're certainly not gonna jive with everybody you're gonna cold call. So I will open it up for questions now. Obviously, there's a lot more like mirroring and matching and rapport building and how to bring somebody, how to, if you call someone and they yell at you, how do you do that? Or if you call somebody and they're like, shutting you down, how do you change that? But that's all into scripts, So if anybody, yes, sir.
We have a code somewhere in the office for our common use, yes?
Yeah, we do. That one, I don't know for 100%, but I believe when we had it, it was in book format, which is just insane.
Yeah, they have a physical book that you have to look through.
Ours is like online. I can go, for instance, you can go take Andover, right? Pull every house in Andover, and then I can subcategorize multifamilies, single families, whatever I want, whoever I want to call. Neighborhood, I could do a little circle on the map, Yeah, I could do only homeowners, so that's nice. The hard book is nice too, but I feel like that's
That's by address or by name or by both?
by everything. Yeah, by everything.
Who has it?
Coal directory? Just tell them I sent you.
No, I mean, where physically is it in the?
Oh, the one in the, I don't know, cause I'm thinking I wouldn't. It's just, I don't know, it's too many phone numbers. It's like having a yellow book or having a yellow book online. Because then we take that list, we can pull it into the Vulcan, and I can rip through that list in no time. It's so much fun. It's so much different than looking them up one by one. We did that for a long time. So,
You're saying, so even with all other realtors and different businesses, I mean, everybody has that capability.
everybody does.
Yeah.
My theory is this. The better guy is always going to win. If you call and I call, I'm probably going to get the listing, right? But if I call and a guy better than me calls, he's probably going to get the listing. But that guy's not going to call every guy I'm going to call, And my hot day isn't going to be his hot day. And there's 120,000 agents in Keller Williams. There's 1 million of us just probably in Massachusetts alone. And how come everybody gets a little piece of the business, right? There's more than enough for everyone. There's more than enough for everyone. I don't think that should be like a worry of any sort. Because there's business. I mean, there's business out there. You could get stuff. If we approach the same 10 people, maybe 5 will like me, maybe 5 will like you. And I could dance and scream, and the 5 that like you will never like me. But the 5 that like me will be likewise, So there's plenty, I believe there's plenty of business. There's plenty of business. And you could call someone today, same person I call, you catch them on a good day, I catch them on a bad day.
Right.
Too many variables, you just don't know,
I see. Right.
Well, what geographic boundaries do you set?
Geographic boundaries. We don't set too many boundaries. We just sold a house.
Inside Worcester? Or?
We just sold a house in Worcester, but that was a friend of mine that sold 3-4 properties. But we'll go probably an hour from Medford, any direction.
We check a list of everything they would give us, because if we set an appointment and we don't feel like going out, we'll pre-qualify and connect them with a great agent for a referral fee.
Yeah. Now we started being more selective, but in the beginning we just wanted to do business, so we had the mindset of we'll go anywhere, anytime, anyhow. Now, obviously, we'll be like, if it's in Randolph, we'll be like, is it 250 or less? We won't go. Whereas before, we drive to Randolph in 2.5 seconds,
Have you used, has anybody used, or have you used anything like Experian or something like that, where they can track people's, you can buy information for people's purchases? Maybe they're starting to buy baby products, so they might be having a child, maybe they're gonna
Oh,
You know, so you can start looking at
I
demographics
like that
down-
stuff, but that goes into marketing.
Yeah,
You gotta, what we're talking about here is like, not a lot of upfront expenses
right,
and more based on efforts. The marketing is more based on, I don't wanna say guessing, but you gotta have enough money to stay the course.
right.
Cause that could pan out a year from now. And if you quit 6 months from now and you pay we tried it twice with Zillow, you know, I'm not just speaking about it. We paid Zillow and Trulia or something like that twice for 6 months each. One time, we closed one piece of business from it, not enough to keep. And then the second time, I think we forgot how crappy the experience was, so we just paid for it again. Just to remind ourselves, it was an expensive lesson, you know?
Right.
But now we're splitting it with a lender, so. It's easy to think that you can pay money for things and make it pay off, and you can. You obviously can. There's a lot of companies that do that. But those companies have revenue, and they can afford to do that without blinking an eye.
Right.
You know, we put 25% of our personal income back into our business every paycheck. And our business operates on that. When that 25% is significant, that I can take $10,000 a year out and put it towards marketing and still not affect my expenses,
Right.
I don't have any problem with Zillow or any of those guys.
Yeah.
That'll be 5, 10 extra deals, yeah, easily. But it's tough because when your mind frame is, I need the money, right? And you don't have $300 for the rest of the year to pay out, you're just praying and hoping that it'll work, not a good thing to do.
Right.
Not a good thing to do, because you don't, you know, it just doesn't make
So
sense.
sticking with the basics is
Basics.
by far it works.
I mean, it works. If you can afford to not stick with the basics, fine. But in the beginning,
You got it.
you know, it's either you have money to throw at a problem, or you just do a little legwork up front, and then you have
Right.
money to throw at the problem. But what I think you'll find is that the basics work so well that you won't want to do anything else, and it truly makes you a better salesperson. You know, like look at this guy; he's a machine over here. You know,
The basics
True.
is just practice, practice, practice.
Yeah.
just practice. But you don't even have to practice. I'll say this, just for the sake of just kind of putting it in perspective. If I take 2 people right now, one person practices, oh, I know all my scripts, I know everything. And the other person just says, I'm just gonna start calling. And the second person calls consistently for a year. By the end of that year, that person's gonna know how to do business better than the person who practiced. You know? Unless the person's practicing and calling. But sometimes people get confused with this whole like, I gotta know everything before I go. You don't gotta know anything. You don't have to know anything. You don't have to know anything. You can, if you have confidence enough to tell somebody something. Have you ever seen somebody lie confidently? And you're like, how do they believe them? They're lying. It's confidence. It's
Donald
confidence.
Trump.
Yeah, don't. Yeah, there you go. Thank you.
Any politician.
Any
Let's not be biased. Any politician.
I have a friend.
Stand up and say whatever bullshit comes to their mind.
I have a friend who ran for a political position, and I feel like I'm a good salesperson. I study. I take very much pride in this business, and he like convinces people. Like, you know, he used to get money, like one of investors and stuff like that. Convinces people so well, and I know him, you know, and I'm like, this guy's full of shit, you know. So I asked him one day over a drink. I'm like, hey, do you like, how, you know, I feel like I'm better than you, but I just sometimes don't understand how people just like, you know, are ready to open their wallets to you. And he says to me, which is I think the same frame most politicians probably take on. When I say something, in the moment I'm saying it, I truly believe it.
I love it.
You know? And if you do that, you could convince anybody of anything. It's just, you have such high integrity that you're like, am I lying to this person? I don't want to be dishonest. Whereas another person comes in, they're dishonest, but they're, you know, 100% accurate in that
Earnest.
direction. Yeah, they're earnest.
but
Yeah.
dishonest.
So it's kind of how it goes, you know?
So would you say that when you start to make phone calls and you just get started, the words just come? And as long as you speak the truth and say what you know and say what's...
Right, not in the beginning,
words will
because
come.
in the beginning you're going to have a conflict of scripts and you wanting to talk, you know?
Right.
But I think it does come. I think if you call people And after you get your confidence after you move away the fear of put it this way, it's like this. If you get hired at Keller Williams and you walk down around the office, you can talk to every single human soul.
And the words come out.
To me, yeah, and the words come out. You're not thinking, I gotta say, I gotta say it this way, I gotta phrase it this way. You're not thinking, you're just talking. So these are people, talk to them. I wanna help you sell a house, that's pretty damn basic. Say it, say that, see how it works, So, that's,
So
most
what
people
you
are just so scared to like I called a guy today, he's talking my ear off. I sold a house in Haverhill, sold a house in Lawrence, I live in Wakefield. Oh my God, this guy's talking my ear off, and I want to be polite, but we're coming up on 5 minutes, Nobody got time for that. I got kids to feed, So then I say to the guy, well, let me send you a card. I want to ask you a question. Can I call you in 6 months or so and see what other properties you may be wanting to sell? Do you have a realtor that you would use? He's like, no, I don't have a realtor. And he told me about how dishonest this last realtor was. They stole like all of his appliances.
Wow.
So to me, it's my job to convince the people that I'm here to help them. Because if I don't, they're going to get a shitty realtor. That's a terrible situation. And if I'm good enough to, then I should help them. Because I know I'm not going to F them over, so to speak,
So when you hit an answering machine, would you leave a quick something on it? What would you leave on it?
I went through periods where I did. I went through periods where I didn't. Now I don't again. So
You don't, so you just say no.
I'm indifferent about the
Just hit the
voicemail.
machine and-
I haven't come up with a voicemail so good that's got me like such a return that I'm like, wow, voicemails are the most magical thing. It's nice they get to hear your voice. If you say the right thing and they call you back, then yeah, maybe your voice just sounds sweeter than mine and it works for you. But I'm indifferent about it. I think if you want to leave a voicemail, leave it. If you don't, don't. At best, they'll call you back and say, oh yeah, great, and let's talk some more. At worst, you say Keller Williams enough, and then we're known all over the place.
Right, just a quick, Gail Glover from Keller Williams.
Yeah, it never hurts for them to hear your name.
So how much trouble are we in when we're calling the do not calls?
Well,
Just do it.
Yeah.
Nike, right? Just do it.
Just do it.
Because you're talking about 80% of the numbers we just talked
Right.
All
about.
right, that's what I'm, yeah.
You know,
that's
so
what I'm wondering. So do we have to always target them like with
no, I don't know.
a bit of information to make that call?
No, don't.
Just do it.
All right, I'll say this. What you just said is an internal thing of how you're feeling. I used to say the same thing. And at that point in time in our career, people would pick up and say, I'm on the do not call list. Fuck you, I'm on the do not call list. And I'd be like, I'd freeze, And now, nobody says that. But the do not call list isn't any smaller than it was before.
So what do you think the difference is? What?
The way my confidence, the way I talk. I don't accept that. I don't accept that do not call crap.
Okay.
What do you mean do not call list? If you're truly on a do not call, you don't have a damn phone because you don't want anybody calling you. Right? Think about that. It's not true. There's no such thing. There is legally,
I need to
yeah.
walk out because
Yeah.
I can't really hear this.
Oh yeah,
part.
sorry,
Yeah,
Pat.
it is.
Private meeting, sir.
Oh, yep, that was appetizing.
But in all honesty, it is what it is.
And
we've gotten lawsuits before.
I've heard different stories about that, right? So you're not really soliciting if you're offering to help somebody do something.
For sale
So
by
you're not-
owners, you're not because they're advertising their information.
Right.
Technically, everybody else you are, I guess.
So
Expires,
if you
well,
hit somebody that says I'm grouchy and I'm on the do not call list and don't bother me, I wouldn't.
All right,
have any-
all right, Gail. I won't call you ever again. Love you. Goodbye.
Do you throw a little something on just calling you with some information and kind of?
No,
change
don't.
it?
When
Sorry.
it's a. Let me think of how I want to say this. Yeah, I don't know. Usually, if somebody's yelling at you and you say I'm sorry, they tend to yell a little more. Where if somebody's yelling at you and you yell back, they calm down. Then you meet in the middle.
Okay.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when somebody says I'm on the do not call list, all right, I'll never call you again. And then, hey, what's your name? You know, and only talk about it. But it's just, if what I found that worked for me really well, surprisingly, it's something I learned, and I usually, when I learn something about speech and communication, I implement it right away, right away. If I learn something right now, I'd walk out, first conversation, I'd do it. He says to me all the time, because that's what I do. So, if you call someone, and they start off yelling, I invite you to try this. Get loud.
Right.
Say the same words, but in their tonality. You will not believe how quickly they'll come back to ground zero and you'll be on the same level. People like people that are like them. And maybe they picked up up here, so you have to catch them up here, and then you both can meet in the middle somewhere. You know? But that's communication. It's just, you know, you could do that with cold calling or anything. You know?
I'd love to hear a sample of that.
Yeah, we have a bunch of videos on our channel. I don't know that there's any extreme. Well, there's got to be some. There's so many. I've probably done everything on there. So if you want to watch those, you can. There's a bunch of people there. But yeah, it works. I've called people that were, you know, from like Spanish-speaking countries, and I would put on a little Spanish accent, just quick, and then, you know, we build rapport.
Comes up?
It's weird. But it's fun. That's fun, you know. That's the fun stuff of human psychology and how we communicate.
I think that's part of my problem. I understand what you're saying, because I've been doing it for so long, and I don't implement anything.
Yeah.
I just don't do it, but I'm going to, I am now. I'm going to start after all my years.
Well, I mean, and you're probably so much. I have friends, like, that been in business for a long
So
time.
long.
They do such good business,
So
you know. They
long.
make like 200, 300,000 every year. And I always tell them, man, if you did what I
You
do,
Howie.
you would probably kill it, you know. But
I'm going to start.
we're each on our own path, so.
My
Yeah.
better half now with Keller Williams.
Oh yeah, well,
That's
yeah.
it,
Right.
bottom line.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can't say that enough. Can I spend my clock back 10 years, 20, 30?
no. When's the best time to plant a tree?
Right,
You know?
today and go forward.
Today,
yeah.
Yeah.
So a quick question